if I was starting over in the insurance industry and wanted to make six figures a year writing personal lines insurance, this is exactly how I do it. So, my name's Tyler. I own a company called Scale Ops. Before this, I started my own scratch agency. I grew it, eventually sold it. Inside my company now, Scale Ops and Agency Aid, I have helped hundreds of agencies to grow and scale their operations, hundreds of virtual assistants inside these agencies, as well as helped to generate tens of millions of dollars in new business. So I've seen a thing or two, and I'm going to break down the simplest way I know how to show you exactly how to write new business. So let's get into it. So I'm going to break this down into a few pieces. So we're going to look at systems, leads, sales, and scale. That's the four pieces that I think are necessary in order to start this whole process. So, first of all, is going to be systems. All right. So, most agents say that they want to write a lot of business, but they don't keep in mind you can't scale chaos. And so you need to have an efficient way to measure what you're working on or how many opportunities you have and keep track and maximize these leads. A lot of times it's not a leads problem that agents have. They've got plenty of people to talk to. They're just not making the most of the opportunities. And so the first thing that I recommend working on is your pipeline. So you need to have some sort of CRM. You can do this and go high level. You can do it in Agency Zoom, Agent CRM. There are numerous different tools that you can use. I have got a video that I can link to in the description where I outline how to set up your pipelines for your agency. So I'm not going to get too much into that in this video, but essentially you need a stage for new leads to go into. So anytime you have a new opportunity to write business, new leads go there. Then gathering info. Let's say you don't have all the information you need, but you don't want to lose that prospect and you want to keep track of where they are. They go here. Then quoting. These are people that you're currently working on. You need to finish that quote before you can present it. Quoted means that you're finished on the quote. Presented means that you have presented to the client, and then sold and X dated. So sold, you wrote the business, congratulations, you're getting a check. And then X dated means you did not sell them. They have passed their expiration date, but you are a smart individual and you're going to follow up in 6 and 12 months and increase your chances of writing that business. This is the piece that nobody's doing. So you need to have a system so you can track everything. And then the next piece is going to be lead intake. So you need to have a standardized way that data comes into your agency every time. So what I would recommend is building out a simple form. It can be a jot form or whatever you want to use, a way that data comes into the agency every time. And so sometimes you're going to text out this link to prospects. If you're busy, you're texting and driving on the road, which you shouldn't be doing. But a client texted you while you're heading home, and you need to give them a chance to give you their insurance. You can text out this link, or let's say that a loan officer sends you a referral, you fill out the form. Everything comes into the agency the same way. This allows you to track everything. It makes sure that all of your data is the same every time. It keeps everything clean and concise. One of the big pieces is you can have every time this form's filled out, obviously it imports into your CRM so you can track it. You can also have it go to a spreadsheet so you can track each week how many leads did I get this week. You can track week over week, look at your activity, and determine what worked and what didn't work. By measuring your activities, you can double down on things that are going well and thus scale the agency. Scale is later on, so I'm not going to touch that yet. So, lead intake, again, you can use any type of form builder that you think of, but use that to build out a way to bring in your leads. And then you connect it to your CRM through Zapier or Make or N8N, any number of tools. And your CRM may even have an internal form builder that you can use. Next is the piece that you're probably here for. If you are looking to write business, you probably think it is all about the leads. And I'm going to show you how to quickly, efficiently, and for $0 go generate a lot of leads. So, the way that I recommend to most of our agents is through loan officers. So, every single file that they work on has to have homeowners insurance before they can even submit it to get a loan. Before they can send it to underwriting, they have to have a quote on homeowners insurance because that's a big piece of protecting that property and making sure it's a good loan. And so, what I always recommend is build relationships with these lenders. Now, keep in mind, every other insurance agent has the same idea. They all know that all of these lenders have to have insurance. So there's a ton of agents that are just bombarding lenders all day long, and you have to stand out from these crowds. So there's a few ways that you can go about doing this. So first of all, you can pull leads on Zillow. If you just Google Zillow loan officers, you're going to get a list of lenders. Now, one of the kickers is most of these pages have the cell phone number of your lender. Use at your discretion, but this is public data. So you can call these people, text them, whatever you feel comfortable with, and reach out to them to set appointments. But the piece is, like I mentioned, you have to go about it differently than every other agent. So the way that I recommend doing this is reach out to add value to them. Think about what they want. They want to write more business because the more loans that they close and the more leads that they get, the more money they make. So if you turn into an insurance agent that makes this lender more money, you are invaluable to them. And so, what I recommend doing is reach out to these lenders saying, hey, I'm looking to do a first time homebuyer seminar. I'm going to bring in a realtor. I'm speaking on insurance, and I need a really great lender. Do you have any interest in speaking at our first time homebuyer seminar? These people are going to say yes. Generally, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. What I've found is over 5% of all people you reach out to are going to respond positively and book an appointment. So if you send 100 messages, you're going to book at least 5 meetings with lenders. I never said this was easy, but this is the way to build a business and make 6 figures. And so that's one option. Another you can do is network with realtors in Facebook groups. If you go to your local community group, yard sale group, buy sell trade group, etc., and you Google realtor or real estate agent, or search it in the search bar in the Facebook group. I promise you, there are posts with 600 comments. When somebody asks for an agent, people lose their minds. There are so many agents. So, what I would recommend doing is find some realtors that you have some things in common with. Do a little bit of research, find people that it looks like you're going to relate to. Send them a friend request and network and say, hey, I'm an insurance agent. I'm looking to do a first time homebuyer seminar. Do you have any interest in chatting and potentially speaking at this event? You're going to have a good conversation. They are thirsty for new leads. And then ask them, hey, who are the top 2 or 3 lenders that you know? And can you make an introduction? And I'd love to chat with them as well. If they are giving you a warm intro to this lender, that is going to be the best lead because you're borrowing credibility from an agent they already work with. They want to do a favor to the agent because the agent typically sends leads to the lender. And so now you just got yourself a really easy coffee or lunch appointment with a loan officer and you can chat through what you're working on. Now, recommendation when you go to this appointment, obviously bring the first time home buyer seminar in your back pocket, but also think about ways that you can help them market. Do they need help running ads, posting on social media, an AI receptionist, whatever it is? Think about ways you can add value to them so that you are seen as a thought leader. And that's how you're going to get more business. So, another piece, let's say you don't want to go after lenders and you want to generate your own leads. This is the way to generate a ton of car insurance leads. So I recommend going into yard sale groups, buy sell trade groups, etc. And I usually would go through and post something like this. Hey, how much is everybody paying for car insurance right now? Post. It's that simple, but I promise you people respond. And when you do this, you're going to get tons of comments. Hey, I pay $160 a month. I pay $400 a month. There's going to be a wide range, and you can pick and choose who you want to work with. If somebody's paying $1,000 a month and it looks like it's a single person, that's probably not somebody you want because they've got a lot of problems. And that's going to mess up your loss ratio. You can pick and choose the types of business you want to go after, and you can send all these people a message. If you get 100 people that comment on your post, like everyone, comment back, friend them, and then send them a message and say, hey, I just helped a family save $250 on their insurance. I've got a short little guide that shows how I did it. If you ever want to chat, I'd love the chance to get to help you. It takes 5 minutes. Something like that typically goes over very well. If you really got time, have a conversation with these people. Get them to know, like, and trust you, and your lead conversion rate is going to increase drastically. So that's how to go generate some leads pretty quickly. One final one is tips to groups. So, one thing that I did with a lot of success was networking inside of real estate investor groups. So, I wrote tons of guides and then recorded videos on how to properly insure your Airbnb or how to make sure that your rental is covered from storms, any number of things. Put out guides like this for real estate investors, put out guides for general contractors to protect themselves with insureds, anything you can think of. The more value you put in the group, the more you're seen as a thought leader, and they're going to start reaching out to you for insurance. So that's how you can go generate a ton of leads for no money. It takes no time to go do this. You spend 1 to 2 hours a day and you can do this. Then there's the sales aspect. So obviously, getting on a sales call and closing somebody, there's a lot of skill involved. There's tons of training courses that you can go check out on this exact thing. If you go onto YouTube and search how to close insurance leads, you're going to find 50 videos. So I'm not going to remake that. I've got a ton of friends in the industry that are experts. If you need some help, leave a comment down below. I will connect you with one of my buddies that can help you. What I would recommend is take the educational approach. Generally, people have bought insurance their entire life and they don't know what they're purchasing. They bought whatever the first agent they got recommended, or they bought the cheapest thing available. Now, you and I, we're insurance professionals, so we know the cheapest thing available is not good. They do not need state minimum limits. So educate them. And the best way to sell is through stories. If you have stories and examples, that is going to make it click and register in somebody's mind on what they need for their insurance. And if you don't have examples, if you're new in the industry and you don't have claim stories, go talk to some agents in town. If you get in some of the Facebook groups and just say, hey, I need some stories about the importance of bodily injury limits on auto insurance, I guarantee you're going to get 25 comments and some long novels because insurance agents love to tell stories, and they're going to teach you examples that you can use. And you can just say when you're on a sales conversation, hey, this happened with one of my colleagues. They don't have to know it's one of your insurance colleagues, and it's not even somebody at your agency. It's one of your colleagues. That's the truth. And educate people. So I recommend educate. And I also love sending videos. So a lot of times I would use Loom and just record my screen, and I would have side by side their old quote, my quote, and I would chat through the differences, explain what it means, explain the coverage differences, why it matters to them, in ways that they can lower the premium. If they're looking at your video and you explain, hey, you can drop it here, here's how much your premium would go down, here's why I recommend this, you're now seen as an expert and an advisor. You are on their side. You're letting them choose, but you're telling them what you would recommend for them in their situation, and that's invaluable. And so, again, there's tons of different rabbit holes you can go down on the sales side of thing. If you've got any questions, again, comment down below. I'll help how I can. The final piece is scale. I know my handwriting's terrible. Let me rewrite this. So, scale. So, I would look at this whole section here, everything we've just chatted about, and where can you remove yourself so that you can free your time. So, the first piece is on the quoting side. So, Let's do quoting. Obviously, the way that I have built my current business, we staff virtual assistants that are trained inside insurance agencies. So our VAs have years of experience and can come in to your agency and start quoting today. You don't have to use my company. Agencyaid.com is where you go to our insurance VAs. You don't have to use us. There's tons of different available options. But having somebody that can run the quotes and do the data entry is massively important. So remember the data intake. We take everything in clean the same way every time. By doing that, you know that you have all the necessary data. So new lead comes in, goes in the new lead tab. If the VA sees it and doesn't have what they need, they move it to gathering information, but they should have everything they need. So they move it to quoting, work on it, move it to quoted, send you an email. Hey, this quote's ready. And then you can move it to presented and present it to the client. Every time you run a personalized quote, it's probably 30 minutes to an hour. Now, if you've got a package, it could be even longer if you're quoting with tons of carriers, bridging over in the systems, et cetera. So you're saving yourself time so that you can focus on relationship activities, build relationships with these clients, and your sales rate is going to increase. Your closing ratio cannot be hindered if you're building real relationships. And so the first piece that I recommend delegating is quoting. The second is lead gen. So all of that stuff you're doing inside Facebook groups, you can give a virtual assistant your password. They can log on to your page, make all the same posts, make all the same comments, and they can start drumming up these opportunities. If you give them a script that you have used, actual conversations you've had, and show them how to do it, they should be able to do it with the same level of efficiency as you. Now, maybe you've got a really great personality and you're better at connecting with people. That may be a little bit of a differentiator, but if somebody's doing this for 8 hours a day rather than the 2 hours you're doing it, and they're generating leads for 8 hours, and then you have somebody else that was running quotes for 4 hours, that's 12 hours of work done that day that you didn't do. And now you have your time. If they've been generating quotes for 8 hours, you should have a whole lot of people to talk to, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to write business. So that's my 4 step guide on how to go make 6 figures in personal lines insurance. If you have any questions, if you need any help, again, comment down below. You can visit scalemyops.com. Features all the different ways we help agents. Myself or my team would be happy to hop on a free call with you, chat through different ways that we help agents, answer questions, and I would love the chance to get to help you grow your agency. We'll see you in the next video.